So you and your mom, you're there, you're listening. What was she listening to?
She's listening to Bruce Springsteen. I'm listening to Bruce Springsteen. She's like...
I heard that before you started getting to work on Infinity Club 2, you took a little trip back home.
I did,
to Jamaica, the ancestral home, right?
Important,
for a little bit of relaxation. But what else does it bring you other than just like being able to take a deep breath, eat some good food? What else does it bring to you?
I mean, I think that music is like an inherent language, obviously, in the Caribbean. And I think, just being somewhere where it's embedded in culture. I think here music is unfortunately embedded in capitalism, where there it's just, it is almost like it's a community sort of placemaking tool, if you will. And I think it just is obviously so inspirational to be somewhere where people are casually talented. Like they're not like necessarily seeking commodifying this talent. They're just there's casual talent anywhere you go in the Caribbean and obviously across so many places in the world, quite frankly. But yeah, it was just inspiring and also like loud when it needs to be, but quiet when it needs to be. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Kind of the perfect setup for you to get home and get going.
And start working. Yeah.
And I just think about all the sounds that show up on the album and what kind of brain, like you have to have a brain like a computer to actually go through all of the sounds that you're collecting in your own pockets to create something. So I'm just wondering how you do all that, how you're categorizing things as you hear them to inspire the work that you're doing.
I mean, I feel like as a DJ, you kind of obviously, I think I produce with like DJ brain, and I feel like the best thing about DJs is their ability to like hold their memories. You know what I mean? I think as a DJ, you're just like, you have about like 2,000 favorite songs. Like you're very, of course. You're very familiar with large amounts of music, and you're very familiar with patterns in music and obviously like genres and subgenres. So I think that, the way that I approach making music is the way that I approach a DJ set, as in it's like taking you a bunch of different places. It's making unlikely connections. I think I place a big emphasis on this concept of like global club music and how expansive electronic music can be. So I'm just trying to make these connections between, regions in the world that people often like stratify.
Right. You also pared things back though, as well as pushing things out and expanding by going back to playing the piano. Is this what I heard? Yeah. And why did you feel like you wanted to do that? And what did it bring to that creative process?
I feel like a lot of producers I look up to, the number one thing they cite is like they play an instrument. You know what I mean? They play an analog instrument specifically. I think just the ability to like communicate myself better with others in the studio, with myself, to execute things I'm hearing on a higher level was just like necessary, obviously, to just like hunker down and like really focus on music theory. I think that there's not that many women in the space of music production, so it feels really important to very much like hone something that's like truly technical, not intuitive, not something that's like locked into my head, and something that I can truly communicate with other musicians. So I just feel like, when you hear something and you can't translate it, it's probably the most frustrating thing
I was
going to
say, it must have been tough.
It's so frustrating. So I think just learning piano and making that just like a part of my artist practice just allows me to like execute and close the gap between what I'm hearing and what I'm doing.
It takes a bit to relearn something like piano or learn it to begin with. And you're on this process of, you want to get this album out, let's go.
It made me slow down. Yeah. Of course, it inevitably makes you like, because I think obviously just being an artist and being a working artist, like, the amount of time that you would hope you would have to finish a project often doesn't line up with like real life and being signed to a label, etc. So I obviously it forced me to be like actually realistic and be like, okay, I can't finish this in 6 months. I'm gonna actually have to take like over a year to finish, and no one gets happy about that. But I think it's obviously necessary if you if you want to be like authentic and true to like what you hear.
I'm gonna play some more from the record. Because this tune is big. Let's listen to it.
So good. You're not ready, but they say you're walling. Turn and twist, slide and swing. Turn and twist, buckles in sync. Turn and twist, catch and fling. You're not ready at the way you want.
It's so good.
Thank you.
It's such a banger. It's In Sync from BAMBII, featuring Jamaican American rapper Beam. You've never been shy about playing around with that connection between Caribbean sounds, reggae and EDM, electronic music. And I wonder how others in the genre of making this kind of music see that connection, because for you, it feels like it's just a natural thing. How is it seen with your peers?
I mean, I feel like, it depends on where you are. I feel like people don't know how like varied or like conflicted the electronic space is.
Tell me more.
And how much sort of like, it's strange, like, like infighting and just like pretension exists. So I feel like if you're in a techno space and you do certain things, it's very much like a faux pas and very much taboo to like bring in different subgenres into that space as a DJ or even as a producer, with people telling you, oh, this is not real techno or blah, blah, blah. So you can hear opinions like that. I think for me, it's just kind of, obviously it's really intuitive. Like I think I'm not like consciously trying to like actually make a statement. It's just representative of like how I grew up and the travel I've done, which is pretty extensive as a DJ. So I think the statement or what it means in the world in a landscape that's primarily very white and male kind of comes after the fact.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's funny because I often feel like, you kind of have to be a white male to make things feel intellectual or cool or avant-garde.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I find when people retranslate global sounds like tropical house or Latin house, as soon as you're not a person of color, it gains more attraction or is more attractive. There's so many examples that I can use that I won't. but
I totally get it. And then, I think of folks like, Lee Scratch Perry, and I'm like, this is someone that's pushing the boundaries and making electronic music.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right? And so I feel like you're a continuation of that Jamaican tradition of pushing the music
I think
forward.
so too. Yeah, I think it's funny because dancehall and reggae and dub, all these things get put in a box, but it's like highly experimental and has gone so many different places. But I think just culture coming out of the Caribbean is very oversimplified and almost kind of constantly looked through a nostalgic lens, which I think for me, I'm like, I just don't see it that way. That's like just not true to like my experiences, like in music spaces and nightlife. Yeah,
because you're pushing it. You're pushing it. Let's talk about the inspirations musically for you growing up. What were you listening to? Like,
what was anything my mom was listening to?
Okay, so it's
I have to cite her.
So you and your mom, you're there, you're listening. What was she listening to?
Like, she's listening to Bruce Springsteen. I'm listening to Bruce Springsteen. She's like, I'm just listening to anything. I didn't have any siblings. So I didn't have a sibling to like put me on. It's basically anything my mom was listening to, like I was listening to, and she had, I would say, pretty eclectic taste and so I was in such an echo chamber with her because obviously, like, you know what I mean? I'm 5, like I can't put on the CD player. Like, you know what I mean? She's just like, I'm just doing what she's doing at that point. So I feel like, just the first idea of like genre jumping and listening to things that people think are so different or attached to different communities wasn't strange to me until I went into the world and was like, oh, people don't listen to... like Bruce Springsteen, Neil Diamond, and then jump to like
that's right,
Buju Banton.
Like why is that black girl playing Rush?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like I didn't realize that was a thing until I, went to high school and I was like, oh, that's weird. So I feel like my mom kind of set the tone for just like having an eclectic taste, or like just, I mean, I wouldn't even label it, just having, being open-minded. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that spoke to you. Totally. As a creator.
Yeah, totally.
So I want to stick with your mom just for a second, because it's just the two of you. She's picking out the music in the house. Other than picking out the music in the house, how has her influence helped you navigate your career in music? Because this is a big industry for you to be in. It's a complicated industry.
Complicated, yeah.
And you have this mother who's a very strong maternal figure. Mm-hmm. How did she influence you?
I mean, I think just, we do very different things. And I would just say that, like, my mom's sort of, like, political compass and, like, her early emphasis on community has really, like, set the tone for, like, a lot of my work as a DJ, a lot of my work in, like, the rave space as a curator, in terms of, like, what I think about, how music spaces should be treated and in cities, and how, my ethic on making things accessible and what communities I'm trying to prioritize, like all those kind of like very fundamental ideas to like who I am as just a creator definitely like come from her. Like I would definitely like, these are pillars of my identity that, I wouldn't have unless I was exposed to kind of like her work, and just like, it's very organic. It's true to who she is. And yeah, I'm just like grateful that kind of like awareness of like equity just from a very early age was just like passed down to me.
Yeah. She's an incredible community builder.
Yeah, she is.
She's done some incredible work. You found a home, not just at home listening to Bruce Springsteen, but in the club scene.
Yeah.
You worked a million different jobs. I'm putting up my hand. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like many, many different jobs. I thought about university. It worked. It kind of worked.
Yeah.
But at the end, you have to find home somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I've read that you found your solace, your home in the club.
In the club, yeah.
What was it about the club? What was it about those spaces that made you feel so at home?
I mean, I feel like, I think it's funny to say, because people be like, club life gets really vilified, but I feel like I've been very lucky, I would say, that the parties that I was going to was actually like quite like a safe space. It was definitely like for a young person who was just like discovering they were queer, who just dropped out of school. Like it was kind of where I feel like I made my first like real set of friends that kind of felt like in alignment with like who I actually wanted to be, who I was becoming. I would say just seeing, I'm not going to like a club with like bottle service and blah, blah. I'm going to like, you know what I mean? I'm going to a space that is so revered in the queer community. Queer community where people are seeing each other for the first time after waiting all month. You know what I mean? And just sort of not being able to access public, most queer people can't go in the world and just be their authentic selves without like ridicule or critique. So I think that there was just an extra intention around music, around joy, around everything that was tied to the space that I'm so grateful to have experienced when I was like really young. It was just very formative for me. It was where I met all the artists that I know, a lot of them I still know today. It's where I've met the most talented people I've ever met in my whole life in these spaces, and just have been exposed to just a type of, I hate this kind of corny, but like just a type of like bravery or a type of like self-determination that I'm seeing in people that, it really struck a chord with me.
I want to go back to 2013 when your bravery and self-determination came to the forefront with the creation of Jerk.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Your own event, it takes a lot of work to put on something like this. How did you go about getting it off the ground?
Didn't feel like that much work at the time. I feel like when I look back, I'm like, that was a lot of fucking work. Like that was a lot of work to start a party, to cook the chicken all by myself.
Because you served your chicken.
Yeah, it was like a whole thing where I made this party and then I cooked all the chicken myself. You know what I mean? At the time, I think I was just like pretty kind of like delusional. Just like it was just so fun to me. Like now I'm like, I would never do that. Like I'm like, we are hiring a caterer. But like, yeah, I think at the time, I had just that sort of innocence on my side that doesn't make things feel like so much work.
Yeah.
But, the honest part of it is that I just started that party because no one's gonna book me. Like I just was like,
right.
oh, like nobody is gonna be like her, like and bring
because
me.
This is the early part of your DJ
this is like
career.
I was DJing for like 2 seconds. I had no idea even truly actually how to DJ. I just knew I need to hear these songs in this space, and I think I had been a loyal club goer for a pretty long time at that point. So people just like naturally just like trusted me to be attached to a good party because I was a partier. But yeah, I think what that grew into and just like the responsibility of it came like later.
Well, the thing about Jerk that I think still like the legacy of it is that you created this space for queer individuals, a lot of people that are racialized, Black folks, Caribbean folks, all of them, everyone getting to come together in this space. It's pretty special. Like, I mean, that's a pretty special. Did you realize how you were bringing so much joy to people who were just looking for a place to be joyful in themselves?
Yeah, I think after the fact, like I think even, you know, the serendipity of it landing on Caravana became a huge deal. You know, like that became a huge deal because obviously Caravana is such an important time in the city, but unfortunately a time that I think that visibly queer and trans people have trouble accessing, you know what I mean? You know, the same spaces as straight people because of, you know, just historical violence and in these spaces. So I think, yeah, after a while, you know what I mean? Just, yeah, the responsibility is dawning on me as to like what this means. Like how is, the statement that it is to be a Caribbean queer person, curating the space for other queer and Caribbean people. And just, you know, it's stretching outward to the city at large, but essentially the community that's prioritized first is that community for sure. And yeah, so just like the politics of nightlife and just like the intentionality is definitely kicked in pretty early on and just kind of became an ethos and just a way of execution moving forward. So it's like, yeah, it's such an important, it taught me a lot. Like it taught me a lot how to just like on just a sort of, yeah, on so many levels, it just taught me how to do things, things and deal with people and what's important and what's not. And just the importance of just like third spaces, you know, that are just shrinking in everywhere.
A part of it must have been sparking your creativity because now we're going from BAMBII, the DJ, to BAMBII now, the producer. And I wonder about how creating your own tunes now, creating your own music for spaces like Jerk. I just want you to compare that for me to being a DJ. Like how do those things sort of live together or not live together?
Yeah, I mean, I think I get this question a lot, and I would say they don't live together because you just have to shut the fuck up when you start making music. Like, you can't go anywhere.
On the bike, no, I like from the plane to the room for a nightcap. Then I car to the club where I might stand. Meet me in the bathroom stall, we'll be out fast. But therefore I pull up. So she want me to show you gonna run down. But therefore I pull up.
It takes a level of like self-isolation. You know what I mean? I think it takes a level of like stillness and discipline, like, you know,
to create.
Like being a music producer is pretty isolating. It's quiet work. It's not like, oh, I'm going to a party to get inspired. Absolutely not. It's like I have to put in my 10,000 hours, like as you know, at any opportunity I get. So I would say on a subconscious level, of course, being in club spaces and being around people and seeing what they react to and movement, being around, you know, I spent a lot of my life around incredible dancers. You know, the dance community is so important to me. That, of course, all feeds into like the choices I make as a producer. But it's not, the truth about it is that when you decide to be a producer, you're deciding to learn a medium like this, you just have to be quiet. Like you have to, it's hard. There's no shortcut to doing this. It's like, it's hard work. That is, it's a lot of solitude. So I would say even DJing sometimes distracts me from being a producer. Being a touring DJ, like it feels very distracting. Like it feels like I have to like turn off one part and then restart another part and kind of toggle back and forth. It definitely doesn't feel intuitive to do both those jobs on top of each other.
Do you love them both equally?
I don't love them both equally. I don't love them both. I know I'm so crazy. I love DJing so much. Like I feel really like I identify so much. I can really love DJing, but I would say for what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to communicate, I definitely think that being a producer is going to get me there. Being a producer is harder. Like it definitely feels more, it's just so much more vulnerable to make your own song and present your own. I think music is so much more of a loaded medium. It's like when you fail at it, you make a song that doesn't work, it feels absolutely terrible. Like, right. Yeah, it's not the same thing. It's not the same.
It's not that you can just grab another tune and take it off and then put it on.
Exactly.
Right,
it's that there's a different amount of intimacy, a different amount of self-sacrifice. It's completely wildly different. They cannot be compared. Like DJing is, it's very hard to stand in a crowd of 5,000 people and make choices that DJs make, but it is not like making a song. It's not like writing a song. They're very different things, but both hard in their own right. I think right now we're in a climate where they get compared a lot, or like one gets delegated as lower than the other. I just think they're just so different.
Yeah. It's so great to talk to you, and I have one last question about the freedom that you've created for yourself, because you've done all of these things on your own. Like you are a self-made woman doing the thing, right? And I wonder about that freedom that you have. Does it feel like freedom to you? The fact that you have been the one calling your own shots, you have been doing things the way that only BAMBII sees this being done. Is that freedom, or is it, or have you shackled yourself a little bit by doing things that way?
Yeah, I think both. I think the music industry is very complicated right now. So
sure.
I don't think anyone in the music industry feels free unless you're like super rich. I think right now it's the most complicated time ever to be an artist. Like the landscape is very difficult to navigate for so many different reasons, and especially harder to navigate if you have any form of politics or moral compass. It becomes much more difficult to navigate. So I wouldn't say, do I always feel free? No. Do I think I'm supposed to always feel exactly free? No, because nobody else. The reality is I don't think anyone's actually inherently free anyways. But I do think, I have the privilege of being as free as someone can call themselves as an artist. I think to be an artist right now it's a privileged position. It's one that I'm very grateful for. I think it's a job that means a lot because many people decide if you get to be an artist. It takes so much community. It takes so much support. So I think that sometimes when I think that there's a lot of people, you know what I mean, in the world saying yes to me, and that's why I get to tour, and that's why I get to make music full time. It definitely it means so much.
Yeah. Well, it means so much to us as your fans. So thank you for doing what you do, and keep doing it. And congratulations again.
Thank you so much.